They got me. Mortarion. No, just kidding. That'd be fucked to do a whole episode. No, I'm still alive and healthy. No plague marine can get me. Welcome back to Lorehammer. We're doing part 2 of Mortarion, the Lord of Plague and Decay. We got a nice full group of boys here, so let's go around the table. We got Fuzz. Hey, welcome.
Howdy, how's it going? I'll try not to be too stinky.
Yeah, only mildly stinky. Only like the kind of stink that you're like, I'll smell that blue cheese again. Only that kind.
A little bit of a cough, that's all.
Yeah. We also got Gerald. Hey, welcome.
Hello. No promises on not being stinky. I had a lot of dairy products right before recording.
Yeah, that'll work. That's the good technique right there. Do you got a Mortarion model with flash in front of us or anything special like that?
I do, and I do have a funny I'm gonna voice after I show the Mortarion model. So here's his 30K one.
Oh, goddamn.
Legally distinct
Nice.
30K, of course.
Very good.
Yeah. Nice. That's tight.
Yep.
Well, very
cool. And then I've been waiting a very long time to do this joke, so let me pull up the quote, or let me pull up one of the quotes. I got a couple quotes for y'all listeners tonight. I'm getting character. Hey, Morty, come join me on the Great Crusade so we can conquer the galaxy for humanity. Oh, gee, I don't know, Biggie. You kind of did a kill still on my fake-ass necromancer daddy. That's not cool, man. Oh, don't be such a wuss, Morty. It'll be a quick trip, in and out, 200 years max. Your sons can be as sneaky as you want. You son of a bitch, I'm in, but I still hate you.
Just a quick 200 years.
Right, he's gonna be like, you ever done drugs in a warp portal, Morty?
Well, yeah, okay, cool. We also, have Jax here. Welcome back. Been a minute.
Hey, yeah, glad to be here.
Do you got any quotes you can top over Gerald's there? Any references? Double nerding.
I only got the opposite of Typhus gesturing towards the warp. Hey, Morty, quick, in and out, 20-minute adventure.
Yeah, it goes on, and then he passes that on, just like the plague that they pass on. Just keep passing on that adventure.
What's the
we got?
Happy good love.
Yeah. Well, we got a fun episode today. Mortarion. Yeah, I had a good time doing the first one. I learned a lot. Some of the Primarch characters, you kind of see it coming. Some of them, you're like, oh, okay, I kind of like how this kind of flip-flopped on him. And as we get into it, we'll kind of recap a little bit of it. But I think the key takeaway from the last episode for me was like hypocrisy. It just seems like every goal he had, he ended up becoming. And even when writing the notes for this episode, we kind of stumble into this similar pattern. So kind of keep your eye out for that as we go through. But yeah, let's do some quick housekeeping. Come join the Discord.
Sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, definitely join the Discord if you like what we talk about. If you want to talk about 40K things with, other mostly okay people, the Discord's got a lot going. People are on there every day talking, sharing minis, talking about lore, talking about homebrew, talking about tactics, sharing those sweet painting pictures and tips. And it's in general, just a good supportive place to hang out for the hobby.
Sorry, I was just laughing at Spaldrum's quote.
Comment. It's always weird to see someone clean shaven in Lorehammer. Yeah, for a while there was the Canadian boy, so all of us would be rocking the beard, and then the rest of us are just greasy nerds. But young Buck Jax there, can you grow hair or?
I can. I just gotta keep it in regs.
I was gonna say, for the military, I think you can have like a mustache. That's about it.
Okay,
I could have like the little like stash here, but anything else is like Wolfsits and burpees. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, you're disgusting people out there, so I like that for this episode. Good job. But yeah, come join the Discord. It's a lot of fun. Always a good place to meet new people, chat, whatever. Show you minis.
Yeah, and if you want a good way to show to support the show and talk with us, you can always join the Patreon. Join the Imperial Tithe, because Mark wants you to not be a stinky boy. You get ad-free versions on Spotify for $2.50, and then for $5, you can join the live stream where you get to talk to us and not see Fuzz's face. Come on, don't be shy.
Come on, poke it back out here.
I promise you're not that stinky. Come on. There he is. There he is.
Yeah, you can see him. You can come join live streams.
Yeah,
Comb through our beards with each other.
absolutely. Or mustaches in Jack's case.
Whatever you
Speaking of Jack's, what else do you get with the live stream?
Yeah, and for that live stream, you get Patreon to access. You join the live stream chat room during the show. Always good to chat, talk shit, propagandize the Night Lords, everyone's favorite legion. And if you're lucky, you could be a call-in guest at the end of the show. Just yap to us. Tell us why the Night Lords are the best.
Yeah, if ever you want to yell at Jax, now's your opportunity to do it live, recorded, all in. No, Night Lords are all right. I've been looking at some of their Tartarus Terminator armor, and a couple flayed guys on it. Pretty neat, pretty okay, pretty cool. But we're not here for that. We're here for Mortarion. Let's get into this episode. Mortarion and the Horus Heresy. In this episode, we're going to be covering. We'll start with just a quick recap. And then we're going to talk about his relationship with other Primarchs. He has a couple of different rivalries, couple different interests. So we'll talk about them. And then we'll break into the Horus Heresy, starting with the Isstvan incident. As deniers will call that one. It's just a little incident, no big deal. And then, we'll kind of work our way through the Heresy. I feel like the rival for Mortarion is Jaghatai Khan. Those two seem to kind of fight each other a couple times. It seems kind of out of nowhere, and you wouldn't expect this kind of mashup. But maybe it is like the mashup you would kind of want, because it's like extreme slow enduring versus like extreme speed not enduring.
Yeah, I could also see it a little bit with like the death and decay versus like the spiritual life essence of the planet side of Chagoris a little bit too.
Yeah. So
I'm probably stretching a little bit, but I gotta trying to back up Games Workshop here.
Yeah, well, the one thing we know these two Primarchs do have in common is they're the two Primarchs that have the least amount of lore about them, and even Can in the universe comments on that, like, we're both not that well known. And I think you're angry about it. But then we'll get into the Siege of Terra, and then they actually do not make an appearance in the Great Scouring. Something happens during Terra. I won't tell you. You'll have to find out. But we'll carry on through his personality, his appearance, his war gear. None of that really changes too much except for his appearance and then his legacy on the Imperium. So going to be a packed episode. Let's get into it.
Alrighty, so Mortarion, from his creation in the Primarch Project to the closing years of the Great Crusade, Mortarion was forged by hardship, oppression, and unending war. Raised amidst the poisoned mists of Barbarous, he developed an unyielding philosophy centered upon endurance, self-reliance, and the destruction of all tyrants. Though reunited with the Emperor and granted command of the 14th Legion, he never fully abandoned the bitterness born from Barbarous. Throughout the Great Crusade, he became one of the Imperium's most relentless commanders, earning a reputation for grim determination, uncompromising leadership, and victories won through attrition rather than glory. By the eve of the Horus Heresy, Mortarion stood as a feared and respected Primarch, though the resentment within him had already begun to take root. By the end of the Great Crusade, the Death Guard had been transformed from the Terran-born Dusk Raiders into a legion wholly defined by Mortarion's bleak doctrines of war. Recruited almost exclusively from Barbarous, they became masters of endurance, advancing through the harshest environments and grinding down enemies with relentless certainty. Their armor, culture, and tactics reflected the harsh world that had shaped their Primarch, stripped of ornament and focused entirely upon survival and victory through attrition. Feared across the Imperium for their resilience and unwavering resolve, the Death Guard embodied the belief that no battlefield was too hostile and no war too costly, provided humanity emerged victorious.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about all that for 2 hours, and definitely go listen to that full recap. But the takeaway is definitely like this grinding legion of inevitability. that kind of will just grind you down, wear you down, just like a common cold will, and it'll just make you feel sluggish and brutal, and anything that you do against him is an ordeal, it seems.
Yeah, I like that whole shtick about the Death Guard. It's just like that, just that unrelenting, advancing wall of doom. No matter what you do, they're coming for you.
Yeah, and like you can almost have a lot of Space Marines feel that way from other legions, but I feel like eventually they either break that mentality, like they get close and then they start doing like honor duels, or they care about the people that they lose. So having that wall is a little more of like a sacrifice, like the Imperial Guard can do that grind forward. But, when they have that, like the Iron Cage incident, we're not happy. That's not like an outcome we like to see. Where the Death Guard, they wouldn't care about an outcome like that. They just keep going.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other specialization of their legion is just like they, like the Death Corps Krieg, excel really well in horrific, noxious, wars of attrition, and like chemical warfare and all kinds of stuff like that. So,
yeah, in 30K, chemical warfare was way more common. Like in 40K, I feel like we only really see it with the Death Watch doing like Tyranid operations. But in like 30K, we had all types of like bioweapons and like almost like what is it all called? They have a couple different
Phosphex?
like actual like, no, not Phosphex.
Well, it definitely seemed like in general they had like a wider spectrum of things that they used that probably post heresy. Some of that technology I'm sure was lost. Yeah, like I said, they had virus bombs, they had plagues, they had all sorts of different targeted weapons. They had like the white phosphorus kind of stuff that you're talking about that would just melt through everything. Like everything was just cranked up so hard during the heresy because it was like the Imperium was also like kind of at its height of military might as well. So they had all of this stuff to use against each other.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking, do you know what this model's called? He's like the dual pistol Horus Heresy kind of guy.
I want to say he's some kind of a tech marine.
I forget what his title is, but maybe
I'm gonna
something
have to research
the model.
Yeah, but they have a variation of him where he has like little chem pistols or whatever, where it spews out like a bioacid or whatever. So they have a couple different ones where, they definitely have a little bit more options. Where in 30K, you lose Volkite, you lose a bunch of stuff, or in 40K, I mean, you lose a bunch of stuff.
But okay, hold on. Research is going to have to wait because my section is up next. His relationship with other Primarchs. Morty was definitely, I don't know as much about Morty as I probably should, but I do know he does not really play well with others. And as we've talked about with like Jaghatai Khan and whatnot, but let's see what the text says here. Mortarion does not form friendships among his brothers in any meaningful sense. He respects strength and efficiency, but emotional closeness, camaraderie, or admiration sit uneasily with them. His nature is solitary and severe, shaped by barbarous and hardened by endless war, leaving little room for trust that is not earned through survival and function. Even among the Primarchs, he remains distant, more a force of inevitability than a companion. So he kind of sounds like he just kind of keeps to himself for the most part, like Kurz, much to Jax's delight, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's not much of the conversationalist. You don't invite him over to dinner parties, for sure. He has no good stories to tell.
He's the guy who goes sup at the party and then just continues just like grimacing.
Yeah. Arms crossed in the corner, scowling at you.
All right. Well, let's, I guess since we're going down the list here, Horus, our baby boy Horus. With Horus, however, Mortarion develops something closer to trust than he grants to any other. Their relationship is built on battlefield compatibility rather than affection. Horus values Mortarion's ability to break enemy forces through attrition and endurance, while Mortarion recognizes in Horus a leader capable of coordinating the brutal necessities of war without hesitation. Campaign after campaign reinforces this bond, as the Death Guard weaken and draw out enemies from the War Master's decisive strikes. Over time, this operational reliance becomes one of the few consistent anchors in Mortarion's fractured relationships with his brothers. And where the Great Crusade and when the Great Crusade begins to fracture, it is this history of shared war that pulls him closer to Horus's cause. And that kind of makes sense, because the way the Luna Wolves / Sons of Horus operate is like they're very much like that spearheaded lightning strike. And so it's the Death Guard is a good complement to that, because you got the attritional warfare grinding the enemy down, and then here comes the Luna Wolves, like ready to strike like a hammer. That sort of
Yeah,
thing.
like normally your grinding unit would be like the Solar Auxiliary or some type of like regiment like that. But then just imagine your grinding unit Space Marines, what kind of things you can accomplish.
And then like having them be the ones so consistently in battles that have your back, you are the one that is up front losing people first, and then the Luna Wolves come in and not even to like take the glory or anything, but they play their part. They have your back. They come and make sure that all of your losses were for something too.
Yeah,
definitely.
They don't watch that tactical strike and end up in a wall killing all their Terminators. That don't happen. Tough job.
But yeah, it's that kind of like tactical trust that seems very Mortarion, from like listening to the first episode, seems very pragmatic in a lot of ways. Like he likes things like simple and practical, and this relationship with Horus is based on a very simple practicality of we do our parts together very well.
Yeah.
It's in a way very kind of sad. Because when Horus ascended as War Master, it was Mortarion, Sanguinius, and Fulgrim were the only ones who weren't assholes to him about him being War Master. So at times, Mortarion can be that bro who's got your back, and it's like, congrats on the promotion.
That's interesting. Yeah. Did he say he wanted somebody else as the War Master?
No, Mortarion was just like, when the Emperor chose Horus as a War Master, Horus mentions, and it's the first 3 books in the Horus Heresy trilogy, that everyone really just hated him except Mortarion, Sanguinius, and Fulgrim. And that Mortarion in like particular was like, congrats on the promotion, bro. You deserved it. GG's.
Okay, so I heard the opposite, that you're saying that he like wasn't in favor. Okay, never mind. Must have
Yeah.
No. Mortarion was just kind of a bro about it.
Yeah, cool. So he even has his back then, yeah. Yeah, like
If it was
Mortarion was
Magnus,
never
hold
in
up.
it for like yeah, like Mortarion was never in it for rank or prestige or anything like that. He doesn't necessarily get anything out of that. He never had that on his planet, so yeah, it's never his vibe.
Anyway, jumping to the Night Haunter, the best Primarch. Among all his brothers, Mortarion found one of the few measures of understanding with the Primarch Conrad Kurz, the Night Haunter. Neither sought friendship, yet both were grim, solitary figures shaped by worlds of suffering, and convinced that fear and harsh necessity were indispensable tools of war. Mortarion respected Kurz, his refusal to indulge in vanity or pretense, while Kurz recognized in Mortarion a fellow Primarch who neither feared death nor sought glory. Though their philosophies were not identical and their methods often differed, they shared a mutual understanding born of isolation, endurance, and the belief that the galaxy was too cruel for idealism alone.
Yeah, now we get this nice little group going at that party in the corner. You got Mortarion standing there with his arms crossed, just scowling at people, and then Conrad Kurz is just torturing like the dog or something in the corner. Mortarion likes the death. He's not like getting involved, but he likes the dead animal. They kind of have this like grim fatality to them, where I bet you could try an entire lifetime and never make either one laugh.
Oh, sure. Because they were definitely both around a lot of death in different ways, but around a lot of death and despair in their own worlds.
Yeah. They both kind of have a weird relationship too with the people of the world. Like, yeah, Conrad Kurz is like killing the people intentionally, but on Barbarous, they were like raising zombies of the people of the world. So he was still having to kill like potentially people that he was acquaintances with, like this weird kind of like, that's pretty grim. Like, yeah. Oh, there's Greg over there. I'm gonna go kill him, even though he's my mentor, and his like jaws falling off. Like, oh.
I don't remember from the Kurz episodes. Did Jax, just you probably remember? Did Kurz switch also to only recruiting from his planet, from Nostromo?
It's weird, but no, he did not. At first, he differed because it really didn't matter to him. But when it eventually just switched to Nostromo, it was because the nobles who became corrupt again just gave him the worst of the worst: criminals, rapists, all that.
Okay, so eventually he did, like, for different reasons, but also only got people from his planet the same way that Mortarion did.
Yeah. I feel bad for Mortarion in this because it's like, yeah, of course he would like understand the evil Batman figure, but like the reason why he does is a lot more like he lost people to his adopted father, and he saw the worst of the worst in Xenos and Psychers. And then Kurz is just like, yeah, bro, that sucks. And well, he's flaying the person to send a message.
Right.
Could I have that dead body when you're done? Like, fuck yeah, they would make quite the pair. Maybe that's the adventure we
Looking for a new pair of shoes.
Not the Emperor.
The worst buddy cop movie of Mortarion.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
they join the Arbites together and make a hell of a team.
The real Horus Heresy was the bros we made along the way.
Bad cop, I hate Psychers cop. To continue this, with Magnus the Red, Mortarion's relationship with Magnus the Red was defined by irreconcilable ideology rather than personal rivalry. Having witnessed the horrors wrought by the necromantic overlords of Barbarous, Mortarion came to regard psychic power and sorcery as inseparable from corruption and tyranny. Magnus, by contrast, believed such powers could be mastered and used for humanity's advancement. Their opposing beliefs reached new heights at their Council of Nicaea, where Mortarion argued for the complete prohibition of psychic practice within the Legion's Astartes. Though they shared a common purpose in the Great Crusade, neither could reconcile the other's convictions, making Magnus one of the few Primarchs Mortarion openly opposed long before the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Nicaea in the last episode there, but yeah, if there's two things Mortarion hates, it's tyrants and psychers.
There's a moment in the Horus Heresy. I don't know if it's gonna be later in here, but basically after Mortarion was corrupted by Nurgle, Magnus had a chat with him and used his powers to help Mortarion in a bit by like making him straighten out his back. He got rid of the corruption for like a few seconds. And Mortarion had this like moment of realization where he's like, you know, you're not so bad, Magic Man.
Quote, end quote. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So they eventually get to be on familiar terms. Or respectable terms, I guess.
Though it would take a while. Anyway, for the last Primarch, Like Perturabo, Mortarion proved better over his perceived sidelining and underappreciation by other Primarchs during the Great Crusade, leading to Jaghatai Khan remarking that beside himself, Mortarion was the only Primarch whose deeds in history were not well known to the Greater Legion, which is kind of a lie because Corvus exists.
I was gonna say Corvus Corax says hello.
He's so good, you don't even know he's on the list of
Say,
the not.
that's
known.
how he's supposed to be.
Oh man. And then we don't even bring up Alpha Legion. Alpha who?
Oh my god.
Yeah, cool. His relationship with the Emperor is a little strained as well. During the late Great Crusade, Mortarion's relationship with the Emperor was functional on the surface, but increasingly strained beneath it. Mortarion obeys Imperial command and continues to prosecute the crusade with ruthless efficiency, but he never fully sheds his distrust of authority, especially authority that feels distant from suffering. The Emperor, for his part, values Mortarion as one of the most reliable instruments of attrition warfare. A Primarch who can endure conditions and campaigns that break other legions. However, there is little warmth or personal understanding between them. Mortarion respects strength and certainty, but he does not trust the Emperor's motives or decisions, particularly when they interfere with his sense of justice or deny him his final authority over his enemies. By this stage, their bond is best described as obedience without trust on one side, and control utility on the other. With cracks already forming that neither fully acknowledges, Mortarion even proved critical of Horus's promotion to War Master. But you were saying he didn't do that. Maybe I misread that myself. Agreeing that while Horus was the best choice, the Emperor's decision to name the War Master in the first place was a mistake. Oh, so he was okay with Horus. He's just like, well, we shouldn't have a War Master. But if there was one, Horus is the guy.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Magnus got the role, you better believe Mortarion would have been absolutely pissed off.
Yeah.
And the heresy would have gone completely differently because Russ would have been all over that too.
Yeah.
Get that psychic motherfucker out of here. We don't like your kind around here.
Unless it's the Emperor, I guess. Or one of our many other brothers. But we don't talk about that. Mortarion predicted
Wait, the spirit of Fenris is
strife
completely different. It's completely different. Not psychic at all.
It's different. Mortarion predicted that only strife between the Primarchs would rise, and the Emperor were to abandon the Great Crusade personally and use Horus as his proxy. So a little predictive.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
Right? It's what happened.
I think it goes
kind
kind
of one of those events that like he pushes in the right direction as one of the big four traders, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I was gonna say I think it's kind of understated. Like he's actually a really good commander because, as Mark says here, like he was trusted in attrition warfare that would break most other legions, and then during the heresy, I'm sure it's going to get brought up later, but especially like the Siege of Terra and especially in the books, like a lot of mention is made like after Perturabo did his fuck this shit, I'm out because Horus is being a bitch. Mortarion was basically the only other Primarch kind of trying to hold everything together. And then going into the Great Scouring, he was one of the few demon Primarchs that really had like an iron grip on his legion compared to everyone else.
Yeah, all the other legions basically kind of broke or shattered or started warring, whatever. But
and I wonder if that has to do with I mean, maybe it was a benefit of him recruiting from his planet. They all had that shared history. They all had to deal with the same environmental issues, and they all had to deal with zombies growing up, shared trauma and all that. I'm sure that just combined again with his practicality and his leadership, I can definitely see that all working towards his advantage. It said this earlier, as far as like the Emperor goes, like Mortarion is very clear. It's very clear to see that Mortarion is somebody who doesn't like absent authoritarian dictatorship leadership. The Emperor should have seen this coming, I feel like, a little bit farther away.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that like really binds him and his legion too is they suffer from the same affliction. You know,
Mhm.
none of the other legions have the same thing. Like the bloodlust is not the same with Angron. You know, yeah, he passes it down, but it's not the same like corruption. Their skin's like falling off and bubbling, and the flies are flying out of the ears. Like it gets crazy for them. Yeah, they definitely bond over that too.
Oh yeah, and yeah,
Some of them literally like meld together even into like a dual space marine.
Yeah.
Nice.
It does give the models a lot of really cool character. Like they're just something decisively unique about the Death Guard models versus other Chaos Space Marine models. Because other ones, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a Space Marine with like evil spiky bits, and then you get to the Death Guard models, it's like, oh shit, that's like real fucking bad.
There's just so much
There's
creativity
a
with
mouth in your stomach.
all that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now we get to the Horus Heresy. When Horus declared his rebellion against the Emperor, Mortarion did not require persuasion born of ambition alone. Of all his brothers, the War Master had earned a measure of trust through years of shared campaigns, while the Emperor had never truly gained his loyalty. Beneath Mortarion's obedience lingered an old bitterness, one rooted in barbarous and the moment the Emperor denied him the right to slay Nakare with his own hand. Horus understood this resentment and carefully nurtured it. He revealed what he claimed were the Emperor's hidden dealings with the powers of the warp during the creation of the Primarchs, presenting him not as humanity's savior, but as another master of forbidden knowledge. To Mortarion, whose hatred of sorcery had defined his life since Barbarous, the accusation struck deeply. Horus argued that the Emperor had become little different from the tyrants he claimed to overthrow, ruling through secrecy, manipulation, and power beyond mortal understanding. Horus promised a new Imperium free from deception and built by the Primarchs themselves. For Mortarion, already burdened by distrust and long-held resentment, the War Master's vision appeared a continuation of the justice he believed had been denied him. Within the Death Guard, First Captain Callus Typhon quietly reinforced this course. Long devoted to dark powers, Typhon steadily guided many of his legion toward rebellion while maintaining Mortarion's confidence. Mortarion's allegiance was revealed during the Isstvan III atrocity, where he committed those warriors whose loyalty remained to the Emperor to certain death. After the Purge, the Death Guard stood openly beside Horus and the other rebel legions, taking part in the dropsite massacre of Isstvan V as the Horus Heresy consumed the Imperium.
Oof. Yeah. It
So yeah,
starts to get messy.
yeah, just another point, against to him, against the Emperor is that warpness. So him seeing the Emperor as the exact kind of tyrants that he hated on his home planet, like, makes total sense. And I feel like if the Emperor just gave a little bit more of his, not compassion, but just presence, and worked, adjusted his, treated Mortarion a little bit different. I feel like if he had looked at the Primarch's situations growing up, kind of for all of them, and changed how he treated all of them a little bit based on that, they would have all been fine. If for Mortarion, even if he joined Mortarion in a couple of battles to be see, I will lead troops from the front and put myself in danger too, and not just be this absent tyrant, just every once in a while, definitely that would have gone a long way to keeping Mortarion's loyalty. No, he is this Afar sorcerer king.
Yeah, I wonder, if he would have been able to sway Mortarion, like you were kind of saying. He does have a lot of things going against him. That sorcerer, that's hard to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even just the absent tyrant. He definitely hates the absent tyrant. But what does that stem from? That's just a lack of free will. That's the lack of control. He was locked in a tower, and now he never wants to be locked in that tower. He wants to be free. So it doesn't necessarily even matter if that tyrant is absent. Just the fact that there is a tyrant above him
That's
I
fair.
think even if the Emperor was
Mm-hmm.
a benevolent tyrant, I think the outcome would still be the same. A guy like this can't have people above him. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if
Mhm.
it's good or not.
I mean,
Passionate tyranny affects everything.
yeah. I mean, and think too. Like you just said this. Like, what if the Emperor treated Mortarion just a little bit differently? How many other traitor Primarchs have we talked about so far where we've had the same exact discussion?
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
what if the Emperor did this? What if the Emperor did this?
I feel like
Even
on
with-
some he could have saved a couple though if he did do a couple of different things. But yeah, I don't know about Mortarion.
And
I-
even then,
I think he could.
Mortarion, he didn't need the constant what's it called? He didn't need to be constantly reinforced by the Emperor that he was doing the right thing. All he needed was like sweet little lies. Because Mortarion, when Horus came to him, he didn't lie about what the Emperor actually was. He told them the truth. Yeah, they were made out of warp shit. Yeah, Biggie kind of did steal from the gods. So if Mortarion got those like sweet little lies, I think like everything would have worked out.
Or even like you were saying when after they fall and Magnus shows him how beneficial warp powers can be. If the Emperor is just like, hey, I know, warp magic fucked you up and your whole planet up for a long time, but here's like a good
Here's
thing.
a magic trick.
For. Yeah. Like
his birthday trick. Wrap it out of the hat.
I mean, if all he's seeing psyker powers used for is like death and destruction and war and violence. We know that the Emperor and other people can use psyker powers to like heal people and stuff as well. So it's like if he just showed Mortarion, hey, look, it's magic's not all bad. I think again, like just a little thing that could, I think, gone a long way.
Yeah, gone a long way for sure. He probably could have stopped him. I think he could have stopped Mortarion from starting the heresy, with these little things. But I think still, if somebody else started it, he's bound to join eventually. Just he's about throwing off those shackles ultimately and anything to get his freedom. We do have a call-in guest, Spaldrum the Stinky. Welcome to the show. Do you have anything to contribute to this little?
Well, almost nothing except for friendship is also magic. So not all magic is bad.
So was it just the Emperor that let him down? It was his friends too.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if the Emperor just made 10 Primarchs instead of fucking 20, maybe this whole heresy wouldn't happen to begin with. I mean, for fuck's sake, sometimes I forget one or two Primarchs' names. Probably that's why we have 2 missing ones. And no one can even agree on the number. Like, do we have 21? Do we have 19? Is Alfarius...
Did the Emperor miss some of his kids? Fuck.
Yeah, he fucking loses them in the mall, in the supermarket.
The Emperor's good at a lot of things. He's bad at math. Could not count his kids right.
Fuck's sake.
In the mall of the Milky Way.
Yeah, I would like to say that it's a great honor to be here, and I'm kind of shitting myself a little bit because I've been listening to you guys for very long time, and yeah.
Well, love to have people in here. So happy.
I understand. Like I started out as just a listener and then doing call-ins and stuff, and now Mark has decided that I'm okay enough to host. So I understand what it's like being on.
I'm trying to push him for shirtless Fridays with me too, but we'll get there. That's fine though.
It's beautiful. Do I have to get a link or something to read? I can read as well if you would like.
I can send you a link. I'll send you one over Discord, and then we'll get you reading.
Okay, if that's the case, I'll open it from the phone. Also, I'll try to not interrupt too much because I really don't know shit about Mortarion. Other than his wings are more like bug wings and not like bird wings. I always thought it would be slow fucking, I don't know, wings like that. And he has a lantern now, insect appropriate, I guess.
Hey, he gets drawn to his own gun.
Moth.
Okay.
There's a really cool artwork of actually him as like a Grim Reaper type, and he's holding an actual lantern. I've been looking for that picture this entire episode so far. I will find it eventually.
Yeah, when you do, you send it my way.
Hell yeah. Might have it on my phone. I guess
Some really
shall
big
we
oil lamp.
continue? Or
Yeah, let's continue.
does our friend Spaldrum have the link up yet?
No, I'm still trying to find him. Send him links.
Okay.
Let me
Right.
write an Imperial Tight members. Oi, oi.
I gotcha.
There we go.
Okay, well, while we do that, I'll go over my part here. Purging a Legion. The poor loyalists of Isstvan 3. Mortarion's true first act of treachery came during the Isstvan 3 atrocity. By this stage of the Horus Heresy, he had already committed himself as the death guard to the War Master's cause, but not every warrior within the 14th Legion shared that loyalty. Those whom Mortarion believed would remain faithful to the Emperor, many of them veteran Terran-born Space Marines from the Legion's days as the Dusk Raiders, were ordered to the surface of Isstvan 3 under the guise of crushing the planet's remaining resistance. Once committed, Horus unleashed the Life Eater virus upon the world, condemning the loyalists of 4 legions to death. When pockets of survivors endured the bombardment, Mortarion led the Death Guard back into battle to finish what the virus had begun. Among the few to escape was Battle Captain Nathaniel Garrow, total Giga Chad from what I understand, whose flight aboard the Eisenstein carried news of Horus's betrayal to Terra, forever changing the course of the war. I'd like to imagine just given Morty and the Death Guard's whole shtick is just like the virus hasn't even dissipated and he's just already like, oh, okay, let's go, guys. Come on, kill all the loyalists.
Look at that, you goddamn. Yeah. Yeah, the Isstvan 3 is such a cool book, those ones with Nathaniel Garrow and just them battling to the last guy. They have so many cool characters in that book. Flight of the Eisenstein. We'll definitely talk more about that in the coming episodes, because while that does happen, Mortarion doesn't really get involved personally in Isstvan 3. Like, I don't think he was doing drops and stuff. He was just sending troops. The other last episode, maybe it was last, but I'm pretty sure it was last episode. We were talking about like critical events in the Horus Heresy that kind of or in like that timeline that kind of affect everything. And we kind of came up with like the crowning of the War Master Horus. We came up with the Council of Nicaea. And then I think this would be the third other really big event that like kind of affects everything. It's like up until this point, there was no such thing as traitors. The thought of a Space Marine firing on another Space Marine is unheard of. And when you read those books, you almost get sick of it. Like you read 10 books and they're still like 10 books deep being shocked that their brothers are firing on them. And it's like, get over it already. But that's how much of a shock it really was.
Right. Especially after all like the indoctrination that they go through to like just instill, that loyalty to the Emperor, to each other, to the Imperium. It is, it's a cult. I mean, it's called the Imperial cult for a reason. And they just cannot fathom it. It's not in their brain power to think that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like, because this is also in a way kinslaying. Like, imagine like walking up to your brother one day. Sorry, bro.
I mean, it's very old school. Just like the idea of betraying your family's trust is such an old school classical, like even back into like the Greeks and the Romans, like you could almost think of it as like a cardinal sin, just from back in the day, like that kind of a thing. You don't kill your family.
Yeah, you almost don't even need to state that, but apparently you do.
Apparently some people think it's going to virus bomb your family.
Oh shit! What happened?
That looks sick,
that's a
by
cool
the way.
picture. That's really cool. Yeah.
Is that a little house on the corner?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is.
Yep.
That's a little fucking random, but all right.
I like that. Not just like the lantern. Again, for anyone listening, join the Patreon so you can see these things live in the live stream and on the on YouTube videos. But the lantern has like dripping toxin from it too. It's just so good.
Drip is the word I would use.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Morty,
Imagine being
even
some
Morty
poor
is dripping, all
dipshit
right.
farmer.
Yes.
Yikes. What kind of crops do you think he's going to yield next season, though?
Garlic.
Pretty good.
So
Just
crazy looking wheat.
Like onions.
Yeah, hell of a crop of
Garlic,
mushroom.
onions, and so
Wow.
Isstvan 3
Everyone-
happens. Pretty significant, which leads quickly into Isstvan 5. But Isstvan 3, Nathaniel Garrow escapes from the Death Guard, and that's basically what actually spawns Isstvan 5. Like, Isstvan 5 shouldn't necessarily have happened in the way that it kind of did. Garrow went, found the Imperial Fist. It's kind of a whole long story. Then they send out reinforcements and this stuff, and they send out legions to go battle.
Yeah.
But
For the drop site massacre, in that case, the betrayal at Isstvan 5 marked the moment the Horus Heresy erupted fully into open civil war. As the Iron Hand, Salamanders, and Raven Guard descended upon the black sands of the world to confront Horus, the Death Guard arrived as part of the second wave, appearing to reinforce the Loyalist assault. Instead, Mortarion and the other newly revealed traitor Primarchs turned upon their unsuspecting brothers, trapping them between two armies in one of the Imperium's darkest betrayals. Throughout the drop site massacre, the Death Guard fought exactly as they had during the Great Crusade, advancing with relentless discipline and grinding down every pocket of resistance through endurance rather than fury. While other legions sought glory through decisive charges or personal duels, Mortarion remained the embodiment of inexorable warfare, methodically crushing the Loyalist defenders until organized resistance finally collapsed. Oof.
Legion
You
was
muted, Mark.
present. Oh, weird. So yeah, even though Mortarion was there, his Legion was present. They did a lot, but they didn't have any cool duels. Like if you go to Fulgrim, epic duel with Paris Manus there, you get a couple cool duels, a couple like heroes are made, or even just some captains and stuff like are killed in that battle. And yeah, once again, the Death Guard, they just kind of do that thing where they're not in it for the glory. They're just going to grind forward, crush all resistance. Doesn't matter about casualties.
Mm-hmm.
Just another day at the office.
Yeah, just another
Yeah,
day
exactly.
at the office. Just
Just
time
that
to
ever
get Space
forward
Marine.
march. The ever forward march of death.
Yeah. Like one thing I'm sure they like drill into their people is like they all die. We all die, so might as well die for yourself. Or not die for yourself. Die for the Death Guard. Die for the Emperor. Die for doing something or whatever. But yeah, like you're already dead, man. We're all dead men walking anyways. So just grind forward.
Mm-hmm.
And
Tragic.
then we jump forward a little bit in the heresy to the Warhawk and the Death Lord.
Okay, should I start reading it?
Yes, sir.
All right. As the Horus Heresy spread across the Imperium, the White Scars found themselves isolated by contradictory astropathic messages, leaving Jaghatai Khan uncertain who had truly betrayed the Emperor. Refusing to commit his legion until he uncovered the truth, the Khan journeyed to the ruined world of Prospero, seeking answers. It was there, amongst the shattered remains of Tisca, that he was confronted by an unexpected visitor, his brother Mortarion. Shall I continue? Do I weigh in the numbered perks now? I continue, okay.
Go for it.
Mortarion had not come at Horus's command, but of his own choosing. Of all his brothers, he believed the Khan was the one most likely to understand his cause. Both had remained distant from the imperial court, valued freedom over dominion, and harbored little affection for those who ruled from afar. Mortarion argued that the emperor had deceived his sons, secretly wielding the very powers of the warp he publicly condemned. Horus, he claimed, offered the chance to overthrow the hypocrisy and build a stronger imperium free from the lies and manipulation. Jaghatai listened, but quickly recognized the contradiction with Mortarion's cause. A lifelong enemy of sorcery who had championed the Council of Nicaea, Mortarion now stood beside Horus, whose allies increasingly embraced the warp. The Khan warns that his brother had exchanged one master for another, and that the corruption he despised would inevitably consume the rebellion itself. It was a bitter irony that the Primarch who had dedicated his life to destroying the tyrants and opposing the powers of the warp now marched alongside those who would become their greatest servants. Mortarion admitted he had a few allies left among the rebel Primarchs and had hoped the Khan would stand beside him against the growing influence of sorcery. But Jaghatai refused. With neither willing to yield, words gave way to violence. The two Primarchs fought amidst the ruins of Prospero, while their chosen warriors clashed around them. Yet neither gained a decisive advantage. Before the duel could reach its conclusion, Mortarion withdrew as news arrived that their fleets had already begun fighting in the orbit. The brothers parted as enemies, and any hope of reconciliation died with them upon the ashes of Prospero. Though neither Primarch prevailed, the encounter marked the last opportunity for Mortarion to turn from the path he had chosen. The Khan watched his brother depart, not with triumph, but with pity, seeing a warrior who sought justice, yet had unknowingly bound himself to the very darkness he had spent his life trying to destroy. Yeah, he hated psychers and he fucking became one, didn't he?
A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Yeah. Irony.
He hates tyrants. He becomes a tyrant.
I bet he was really hygienic before this whole heresy as well. Felt
he
to
might,
Nurgle.
he might, yeah. No,
Well,
it
Half
is
the
funny
hell
that
is
with
paved with good intentions
Yeah.
and no baths.
Right. Was
it is
he
funny that like he just can't maybe let me think of a different way to say something here. Fuzz, go for it.
this is just me kind of looking at the book cover you've got pulled up. Was he wasn't already like, imbued a lot with like Nurgle power, just because like the scale of him versus Khan in that picture, he looks like he's about twice the height of Jaghatai Khan.
That's during the Siege of Terra, his Warhawk book. This was before all that.
Yeah, because I think the fall to Nurgle was just before the Siege of Terra.
Okay, so he was juiced up and probably was, a bigger than the Khan was at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, and the Khan is one of the more level-headed Primarchs just throughout. And yeah, just trying to reason with Mortarion sort of one last time. I like that. And it is interesting, like that it almost sounds like an unspoken kinship between the two of them, that Mortarion would seek out the Khan to be an ally. He's like, it sounds like, he feels like he's losing the other Primarchs maybe more to sorcery than he feels himself has been going. And so is trying to bring the Khan in as another, friendly face, another anchor to reality, maybe another anchor to his old life, to something that he believes in.
And I think
Yeah.
he sees that compare and contrast with the Khan, even though, yeah, he kind of butted heads at the Council of Nicaea because Khan was all for like the librarium or whatever, but he also saw that the Khan was also against like tyranny or whatnot. Or the Khan was, as we've talked about in his episodes, like he was not exactly 100% for the Imperium, but he understood that's still better than the alternative. And that's the exact point that Morty is proving. Like, yeah, Big E, he sucks. He's a tyrant or whatnot. But you're joining the forces of hell. Like, do you not see the problem with this?
The Emperor's not perfect, but just like gestures vaguely to like the Eye of Terror. It's like,
It is very tragic though, because Mortarion, he may not have known about the sorcery at the time, and he needed that anchor. He needed that person to be like, "Hey, come back a little bit, draw yourself back." He needed therapists, all right. He needed someone with some muscle to talk him through his problems. Like he was so dead set on this Imperium falling and killing the Emperor that they couldn't just meet themselves eye to eye.
yeah.
If Mortarion made that final push, he would have been redeemed right then and there. But he's so stubborn.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Jax. I'm not going to really go over it, but that does come into play like a little bit, like a tiny little bit in 40K during the Dark Imperium.
Oh yeah. That more so is though his possible redemption being he kills Gilliman. The Emperor comes back, revives him, and says, "Hey, bud, there's still possible hope for you." Which is neat.
Is that in the Dark
That
Imperium?
storyline will never continue. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's in the Dark Imperium trilogy.
Okay. I have to add that to my reading list. I just started one of the Sororitas audio plays.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
But anyway, that's another discussion. Maybe we'll do an episode on just like the novels at some point. I don't know. But after this, following his encounter with Jaghatai Khan upon the ruins of Prospero, Mortarion abandoned the pursuit of the White Scars, but his brother's words lingered within his thoughts. Rather than returning directly to Horus, the Death Lord turned his legion against the scattered worlds of the former Prosperan Empire, not in pursuit of conquest, but in search of answers. His campaign eventually brought him to the library world of Terathalion, where the Death Guard unleashed a devastating orbital bombardment before descending upon the broken planet. Amidst the ruins, Mortarion sought a single captive, a mortal woman whose body concealed a demon of the warp. Taken aboard his flagship, the Endurance, the creature was brought before the Primarch in chains. Mortarion questioned it relentlessly, seeking to understand the nature of chaos and why brothers such as Lorgar and Fulgrim had willingly embraced its power. Though he had rebelled against the Emperor, he still believed sorcery to be a corruption that humanity must resist. He sought not power but certainty, determined to prove that the warp could be understood, contained, and ultimately overcome. The demon mocked his conviction, warning that he stood surrounded by powers he neither understood nor controlled, and that one of the greatest entities of the warp had already laid claim to his soul. Mortarion rejected the creature's claims, believing no force, not even the Emperor himself, could command his destiny. When the demon finally cast aside its disguise and attacked, Mortarion discovered an uncomfortable truth. To destroy it, he instinctively drew upon psychic abilities that had always lain dormant within him. The Primarch, who had condemned witchcraft throughout his life, defeated the creature by wielding the very power he had sworn to eradicate. As the demon was banished, it hailed him as a champion yet to come. But Mortarion dismissed the prophecy as another deception. Convinced that his will alone was stronger than those who had fallen before him, he resolved to master the warp rather than flee from it, believing knowledge would grant him dominion over its horrors. Like so many before him, Mortarion failed to see that the moment he sought to control the warp was the moment it had already begun to control him. Yep,
That's
it's
so
always
funny.
that. Yeah, it's always that. It's always the people that are like, no, but I'm different. I can do it. I'll be fine.
Ignore the
I feel so
boil.
bad for him because it's not even that. He just wants the knowledge and stuff. It's like that genuinely makes my skin crawl. Imagine so a demon attacks you, you blow it up using force magic. You seek to understand this stuff. The demon itself, instead of getting pissed at you or being very bitter, is like, good job, bro. Just you wait.
And I guess that's the second half of it. Like the first half, I do legitimately understand. Like he's almost approaching this from like a scientific standpoint of wanting to apply rational logic and reason and the scientific method to the warp and to demons. Because if he can figure that out, then in theory would be something that could be contained and overcome and controlled if you can have verifiable, repeatable, interactions with it. But that's just not how it works.
Yeah, like he tried to take that very pragmatic approach, but
he's not fleeing. He's doing his tactic. He doesn't turn tail and run. He just marches onward, and that fucks him up.
I wonder if he kind of had that split second thought too of like, oh shit, so this is what Magnus was on about.
And I wonder also like
unlimited power.
I wonder if he had been able to tap into his psychic powers on Barbarous, how that could have potentially changed things if he could have used his own psyker abilities as a weapon for what he sees as justice. Now, again, like this is all very like hypothetical, but again, it's one of those little pivotal moments that could have changed a lot.
Yeah, like what kind of psychic powers does he have? Because I wonder, like, if it's just like precog, maybe that wouldn't have helped him. Like, is he launching? Like, what kind of powers?
I was thinking that too. I kind of imagine him to have biomancy, like the flesh warping bullshit. I think that fits Nurgle the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that fits even before like having to be fully Nurgle. Like, you could do that biomancy and not be a servant of Nurgle. So yeah, okay.
Or probably just like endurance, like even more so than like any other Primarch too, like because it's been talked about, like he does have that sheer willpower and endurance about him. So
it could be
shoot space 8 out of his fingertips instantly. Space
Apparently his power is psychic resistance / nullification, so he can a little bit of a avoid himself. Warp instinct, so he's just connected to the warp. It allows him to like track fellow psychers, demons. I guess he just kind of has a sense for them. And sorcerer's potential.
Okay.
So he has kind of
Pretty
just like the
vanilla
ability
stuff.
to be something more. Thanks, Reddit, for that. I feel like I've learned a lot, but also nothing useful. Perfect.
I have so many more questions.
Reddit.
Yeah.
No.
That is cool though. He has the go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think there was a theory that like all the Primarchs were in some way, shape, or form psychic because they are made from some warp juice on top of whatever juice the Emperor, put of himself in there. So like even the non-psychic ones like Bobby G or Dorn like have something to them. Yeah.
No, makes sense.
Even just being flung through the warp, I'm sure that affected some of them with the powers and some didn't. So yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So he gives in though. He gives in. He's like, I'm gonna master chaos.
Yep. It's gonna go good. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Great things.
But before I go into my Oh, gee, I don't know about this. I'm not sure I like this Chaos Demon. Before I go into my part, I got to ask in the chat or folks here in the live stream, do we have any Typhon fans? Typhon fans? Anybody? No?
It's just as bad as Erebus.
Number one, smart choice. Absolutely. If there are any Typhon fans in the chat, I am about to prove you why you should think otherwise. The Doom of the Death Guard. Dun dun dun. As the Horus Heresy drew towards its final act, Horus ordered his legions to Terra for the assault upon the Imperial Palace. Mortarion led the Death Guard with grim determination, intent on bringing an end to the Emperor's reign. Yet before the Legion could reach its destination, betrayal struck from within. First Captain Callus Typhon, who had long concealed his devotion to the powers beyond the material realm, enacted the final stage of his own design. Years earlier, while campaigning beside the Word-Bearers, Typhon had been drawn into the hidden teachings of the warrior lodges under the guidance of Erebus. Fucking bitch. He embraced the path that promised freedom through the powers of the warp, nurturing his psychic gifts in secret while presenting unwavering loyalty to Mortarion. By the time the heresy reached its climax, Typhon no longer served his Primarch, but another master entirely. Before the fleet entered the warp, Typhon ensured that every navigator capable of guiding the Death Guard to Terra was slain, claiming they could no longer be trusted. With no alternative remaining, Mortarion reluctantly accepted Typhon's assurance that his own unnatural abilities would guide the fleet safely through the Immaterium. It was a decision born of necessity, yet one that violated every principle the Primarch had upheld throughout his life. The fleet soon became becalmed within the shifting tides of the warp, unable to escape or chart a course. There, an unseen corruption spread through every vessel. A plague unlike any known disease consumed the Death Guard, bypassing the resilience that had carried them through countless campaigns. Flesh blackened, armor decayed, and agony became constant. Warriors who had survived the deadliest toxins in the galaxy found themselves broken by a sickness against which endurance offered no defense.
The stank.
Stank.
It takes a special kind of messed up to do your brothers dirty like that. Your own comrades.
Yeah.
I mean, in his way, he's just giving the blessings of Nurgle, I guess. So he's like the good guy in his eyes.
Yeah. I'm a hero. As he's
Nurgle loves you, my children.
Right.
This constant suffering you're going through, don't worry. It's only temporary. Right, Papa?
And Nurgle is benevolent, and the end of the day, it's the good guy.
In a weird way, I've always seen like Nurgle's disease as like the disease of time, because it's always about things growing and then rotting and then decaying. Like you can be a space marine and be, again, resilient to any, disease, but if the disease is just time that ages you and destroys you and like multiplies cancer cells in your body so erratically and rusts your armor into oblivion, there's nothing that you can do about that. I know it's kind of a weird take, but like that's always like kind of how I've seen at least like a part of Nurgle's diseases is time. It's the one thing that almost nothing in the galaxy can stand against.
Yeah, most people think Nurgle is just the disease guy, but yeah, his entropy made manifest. So, yeah, the time thing really works well. Have you played Total War Warhammer 3?
I have not.
The buildings are like a circle, basically. So you build a building, and it constantly grows, and then demolishes, and then rebuilds itself. So, like, you basically need to play around that circle of life bullshit. So yeah, it's literally that. The disease is just a cherry on top with the bugs and shit.
And that actually becomes like a plot point in the Hammer and Bolter episode on the Death Guard, because
it's such a good episode.
such a disgusting but amazing episode. But yeah, like the weird time dilation of warp travel creates this feedback loop that one of the Death Guard sorcerers actually exploits to control to take over a planet in the name of Nurgle. So really good episode.
Quadragaff points out, he said he liked my point on time disease and that the Death Guard have entropy cannons, and that's how he always saw them. Because I will always find a way to interject Tau, just like Jax will always interject the Night Lords. The Tau actually also have like time bombs where it creates like a hyper accelerated time bubble, and they've used those to basically dust people by just hyper accelerating the time. They just age into mist.
You can kill people.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's so high tech to do.
I think it was in the Damocles anthology books. They were fighting White Scars.
I wonder how did they find that technology? Like the Age of Wine or something? Why would you need that?
Stolen or co-opted from, was it the Sloth?
One day, Mark, we need to do Tau Talk with Mark and Fuzz one of these days. I will ramble about Tau theories, but yeah.
Anyway, you want to continue on the doom of Mortarion. Mortarion fought desperately to preserve his legion. When the first victim, Rahab Zarek, what a name, succumbed to the plague, the Primarch attempted to grant him release through death, only to discover that even death offered no escape in hell. The disease bound its victims to unending torment, transforming the fleet into a prison of decay where every soul suffered without hope of relief. For Mortarion, the ordeal became a cruel reflection of his youth upon Barbarous. Once again, he found himself choking beneath an atmosphere that no strength could overcome, watching those under his protection perish while he remained powerless to save them. On Barbarous, the Emperor had intervened before death claimed him. Within the warp, there would be no rescue, only the endless suffering. At last, with his legion collapsing around him and every effort exhausted, Mortarion yielded his soul. He called out into the darkness, offering himself and the Death Guard in exchange for an end to their torment. The answer came immediately. Nurgle, the Lord of Decay, accepted the bargain that had been prepared long before the fleet entered the warp. The plague ceased to be an affliction and instead became part of their very being. Mortarion's body was remade against his will, his soul forever bound to the power he had spent his life despising. The Primarch, who had dedicated himself to destroying witches and tyrants wherever he found them, became the servant of a god born from the warp itself. His legion arose beside him, forever changed. Their bodies and armor fused with corruption beyond mortal understanding. Mortarion's fall was not the result of ambition or the pursuit of forbidden power, but of despair. Believing he could spare his sons from eternal suffering, he surrendered the one thing he never had intended to lose, his freedom. In seeking to save the Death Guard, he condemned both himself and his legion, fulfilling the fate of the struggle he once had against the poisoned mountains of Barbarous. Typhus had won.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just watching his whole legion just like melt away, and then like even in death they become these zombies, and they're still like, I'm fucked. Like, oh, horrific.
Yeah, and that's like that's the thing about chaos. Like Nurgle, like Nurgle is clearly the one that where this disease came from, and comes to Mortarion and is like, I see you got yourself in quite the pickle there, Mortarion. Would you like some help getting out of it? Who knows how this could have happened, but I can save you from whatever this is.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jesus. Like, I'll save you from me.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun that way.
So, a little fun fact about this horror deal. After Mortarion does this, and after all this happens, Typhus walks in. He's like, good choice, Dad. And Mortarion immediately kills him, only for Typhus to be resurrected.
That's
I mean, honestly, like fair point to Mortarion. Like, yeah, if I had to make a deal with a fucking dark god and my kid walked in and was like, "You did the right thing. We're on the right team now," I'd be like, "What did you do, you little shit?" And just fucking knock his head off.
Time out.
Whoever's army this is, I'm just on Google Images or whatever, but this is a cool like 30k era
Yeah, that looks
plagued out army.
Mhm.
Where they're like not fully plagued, they're still pretty smooth and like you can tell they're in the early stages, but
yeah, like just starting to crack, just starting to have like the sallow faces and everything. Yeah.
yeah, before they turn into like full on these things.
Yeah, right.
Cool army. Yeah, I wonder like how many of these Death Guard would have joined this side, or if they would have chosen death. Like a lot of them got dragged into this side too. Like they didn't really have a choice in selling their soul necessarily. Yeah, they probably still would have. I don't think they were like good guys. They already had chinks in their armor, but
This kind of seemed to be the running theme of like a lot of the traitor legions, though, is just like Morty got duped into this, and then most of his legion goes with him. Angron had the butcher's nails. The entire legion also had the butcher's nails put in.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Fulgrim
Just some
decided to get a little
generational trauma.
yeah.
passed
Fulgrim
on.
decided to get a little too happy with his demon dick sword, and well, we all know what happened with the Emperor's children. So
Oh god. All right, let's Google image it. Let's fucking see what we
Yeah.
get.
Join the Patreon for $2.50 and join the live stream. See our Google Demon Big Sword.
That's a big
That's
sword.
epic. That's a big
Yeah.
sword.
Oh my god.
All right.
Jesus
All right.
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Just Nurgle things, you know. Just filthy rank
Oh
Nurgle things.
jeez.
And it became a Slaanesh episode.
Oh.
Oh yeah, fuck. The dick sword had me compelled there. I was under its influence there too.
Alright.
Back to Mortarion though. We jump forward now. He is fully he is full Demon Prince. I haven't pulled up a picture of him full Demon Prince, but I will do that right now, and then we'll read the Siege of Terra.
The
You look-
I think my all-time favorite model that GW has come up with, apart from maybe a Lord of Change, this just rocks.
That is
Yeah.
a fucking sick model. Yeah, like everything about it just looks cool.
Would
Pretty
you
well
like
defined.
to see a 30k Demon Primarch version? Like we have Angron's 30k, and I think Fulgrim has a 30k version too.
Hmm.
Do you think they'd be that
That was
much
hard to
different
top
between the
this.
40 and the 30?
I think they would, just because they haven't spent the time being corrupted and shaped by the warp. I think that they should look distinctly different.
It's gonna look like a caterpillar, I think.
Yeah,
It would be really cute, honestly.
that's it. Like, that's 35k Mortarion is just like fucking Kakuna or Metapod from
Yeah.
Pokemon. Just a crest.
Cocoon with a fucking sight.
I feel like the 30k ones should look pretty much just like them as a Primarch, maybe with like a little bit of stuff, or maybe just bigger, but not like a ton different.
Yeah, we give them some time to marinate in the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like maybe give him the moth wings and like a couple of slimy bits here or there, but more or less like human Mortarion if they decide to go that route.
I don't even know if I would call those moth wings. Let me.
It's not moth
Doesn't
wings,
look
sorry.
like
It's I remember
guess-
from the article it was botfly. It was a botfly, I think.
Oh, okay.
I just made the moth connection because lantern. Big titty monk.
No, it's fair. Yeah.
For you Destiny fans, I was also thinking of Savathun, aka Moth Mommy.
Mm-hmm. The Siege of Terra. What emerged from the warp bore little resemblance to the legion that had entered it. The Death Guard's once pristine armor was black and corroded and fused to the body swollen by impossible disease. Flesh and ceramite had become inseparable, while plague and corruption flowed through every weapon and warrior alike. No longer merely Astartes, they had been remade into living vessels of decay. They'd still march beneath the name, the Death Guard. By the time the traitor host reached the Sol system, Mortarion had become something far removed from the Primarch who once walked the poisonous mountains of Barbarous. Last among his brothers to arrive at Terra, he came before Horus aboard the Vengeful Spirit, his presence alone spreading sickness through those around him. As promised, Horus granted the Death Guard the honor of leading the first assault on the throne world. Mortarion was entrusted with the siege of the palace's western approaches, where the Death Guard advances as an unrelenting tide of plague and attrition. Rather than hurl his legion against the Emperor's psychic defenses, he sought to grind down terror through exhaustion, disease, and inevitable collapse. During the campaign, he clashed with Perturabo over the nature of chaos, yet still permitted Typhon to aid the Iron Warriors in rituals intended to weaken the Emperor's great psychic barrier. He later sought the Council of Magnus, reluctantly admitting that his new demonic form was the source of constant agony. Though he despised what he had become, Magnus helped him master the altered nature, allowing Mortarion to return to the war with renewed purpose. That'd be some fun conversations with Perturabo and Mortarion about like the nature of the universe and the nature of warp, and like just they're both so grounded and like realistic.
Well, especially Perturabo's, because I think that would be an interesting interaction, because Perturabo and the Iron Warriors are so averse to mutation and corruption, and then that's just what the Death Guard are.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Like what they are. They are just mutation and corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun conversation.
So Perturabo was friends with Magnus, and when Mortarion always gave Magnus shit, Perturabo would defend him. So they never had good a relationship in the beginning.
Mhm.
And since they're both so stubborn, they both died on the hill that either one of them were just assholes. So
Yeah.
going into that, they just never really liked each other.
Yeah, fair
Both
enough.
are stubborn, petulant man children.
Well, and even
Like
like
the cat.
yeah, yeah, and like Perturabo's pretty tyrant. Like, don't they call him like the Iron Tyrant or something like that?
Mhm.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrant.
Yeah. Following Perturabo's withdrawal from the siege, Horus placed Mortarion in command of the Lion's Gate spaceport. Oh, sorry, I skipped something. We'll jump back. During the siege of Mortarion, also confronted Nathaniel Garrow, the loyal son who escaped his judgment at Isstvan III. Mortarion offered Garrow one final chance to return to the Death Guard, but the former battle brother refused and stood his ground. Their duel ended with Garrow mortally wounded, though not before he struck a telling blow against his fallen Primarch. Even transformed by the powers of the warp, Mortarion discovered that loyalty and faith could still wound him. Following Perturabo's withdrawal from the siege, Horus placed Mortarion in command of the Lion's Gate spaceport. This position soon became the focus of determined Imperial counterattack led by Jaghatai Khan. The brothers met once more in single combat, but this time Mortarion fought with unnatural strength and endurance, granted by his bargain with Nurgle. The Khan was steadily overwhelmed until he turned to Mortarion's greatest weakness against him, reminding the Death Guard that he had surrendered everything he once believed in. Jaghatai provoked his brother into abandoning discipline for anger. That's so funny. What a classic bad guy scenario. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's so funny. Don't you realize you become what you hate?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exploiting the opening, the Khan launched his final assault, driving himself along the blade of Mortarion's own scythe before striking a decisive blow. that severed the Demon Primarch's head. Banished back into the warp, Mortarion vanished from the battlefield, while the gravely wounded Khan was carried from the field by his warriors. Fucking tight.
Yeah.
We're supposed to
don't worry, he gets
destroy
better.
the Psychers, not join him.
When a demon Primarch dies, do they like lose all their weapons and stuff and just respawn naked, or do they just respawn?
I love that
Like,
idea.
do they need?
Oh,
do
man.
need
And then
go
they
back
have to
the
run
place they
back to
died?
their...
Yeah,
Yeah.
like loot their own body, equip the fucking shit.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I remember those MMOs back in the day where you had to do that. That sucked.
No, it's like a freaking Dark Souls run back. Oh my gosh, gotta get my souls, man.
Yeah, even I
He's
mean,
just
even
rolling
Diablo,
past everyone.
even like Diablo 2, you did this shit. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but
But-
seriously, do they actually like? Are they bound to their items in a way?
I think so.
No.
Like
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah, I'd imagine everything. Yeah, everything just kind of vanishes back into the warp with them. It's all at this point. It's all like part of them and like an extension of their being.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They can
With
change their
Angron.
clothes.
Oh, sorry. But with Angron, it carries on with the nails, right? Sanguinius tears him out of his head, but it doesn't matter. They just reform back on him.
Mm-hmm. Because I think it's like the form that you take once you become the servant of whichever chaos god or undivided that you belong to, like that is essentially you. Because just like, if you take a look at 30k Morty here, like he's got his scythe. He's always had that, and now that's always a part of him, like as a 40k Demon Primarch. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right,
So
so
he got
after
beheaded. That's
there-
fucking crazy.
Oh yeah. That's what it takes to get him to leave. Is fucking Khan cuts his head off. So good. All right, so with Horus dead and the heresy lost, Mortarion appeared in the Eye of Terror, claiming the Plague Planet as his new dominion. Before reaching its cursed refuge, the Shattered Death Guard were forced to fight a bitter withdrawal from Terra, battling through the Great Scouring as the victorious Loyalists relentlessly pursued the broken traitor legions toward the Eye of Terror. Mortarion himself played little part in the wider campaign, leaving his legion to endure the long retreat until they finally crossed into the Warp's sanctuary. There he raised the Black Manse and remade the world into a realm of poison, pestilence, and decay, a bleak reflection of the mountains of Barbarous. For his unwavering service, Nurgle elevated Mortarion to the rank of Demon Prince. In bitter irony, the Primarch who had overthrown the tyrants Nakar now ruled as lord over his own cursed world, his throne echoing that of the monster he had sworn to never become. From the depths of the Eye, Mortarion faded from the affairs of the wider galaxy, turning his attention instead toward the endless wars of the Warp. So yeah, like I do love the way it sort of phrases it. Some people see it as well. He didn't really help his legion retreat. I guess that's probably because he got his head cut off and teleported back into the warp. There wasn't much he could do about that.
No. Yeah, and it would be kind of crazy too at that spot. Like, I wonder if Khan knew that, like, he didn't really kill his brother. I wonder if he's like, I fucking got him good. Like, do we know that they respawn?
I don't know if we knew then. Especially, I don't know if the Khan knew then.
Yeah.
But I feel like at the very least, he probably cut his head off and was like, I hope he's dead.
I hope, yeah.
Because I imagine if the
Now-
body disappears and doesn't just stay around being dead still, you gotta wonder.
I guess, yeah, it probably would, like, or not magically, but, like, yeah, warp fizzle away or whatever.
Mhm.
Warp disintegrate.
Mhm.
Cool. We're multiplying with hosts here. We're going for the most diseases, most hosts. Triple Gaff wants in here as well. Hey,
Your
welcome
sacred
to the
number.
show.
Hey, what up, boys?
What up, what up?
Hello.
Yeah, the old
What
favorite number. Did we get to it? 2, 4, 6. We need one more person. Oh, Triple Gaff. What do you think about Mortarion? You a fan of him?
Yeah, easily my favorite character in Warhammer. I've been waiting for this episode since you guys started Lionel Johnson. When that episode got announced, I was like, nice, 13 more Primarchs, and here we are.
2 years later, and here we are.
It was all worth it.
Yeah.
Is this what you wanted
what
from
do
us?
you-
Are you happy?
Are you not entertained?
Do you want us to take off
Exactly
our
what I
shirt?
needed.
What kind of sticks out to you about Mortarion? What do you like?
He's really, really inconsistent in the books. Because first he started getting written by Graham McNeil, and he was kind of like an evil bastard, and that's kind of it. But towards the end, Chris Wright started picking him up after he started doing Mortarion as an appearing villain when he was writing the Khan books, and he was incredible. He was like a completely different character. He was really interesting, and then he wrote Buried Daggerlast. Because of how hypocritical he is, in a way, it almost makes him feel like a real person would, how they would act and behave. Like, I love Sanguinius, but I struggle to love a lot of his stories because he feels so perfect and in character all the time. He's always Sanguinius, but Mortarion kind of feels like a real person who would contradict himself constantly.
Yeah, and like fall into like the blindest blind spots too, which I think like like the blind spots, like I can defeat chaos, like those obvious ones where it's like anyone else doesn't think like that. You can't defeat chaos, like you can't join in and be more powerful. But he kind of has these like moments of just like really not going with the flow of it, and just kind of trying to really force his own way, force reality onto something. Even just him trying to climb up the mountain, like choking to death over and over. He's like, no, I'm still gonna make it up there this time. Like I'm
not going to change my circumstance, but I'm strong enough to endure it until the circumstances are favorable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he is a fun character for sure. Like I definitely have gained some new perspective on him. And it's nice too, like, we get a couple different versions of Primarchs too, and like when they're written, like the old characters, and then we get the Horus Heresy kind of updated versions, and like, yeah, they didn't really have to add a whole lot to him to make him like interesting. A lot of his plot points are already kind of there, baked in and stuff, like how he fell, why he fell. A lot of that was already there. So yeah, when kind of going back through it, like it was just refining and like really bringing to the surface like the hatred of tyranny, the hatred of Psyker, but it was already kind of there.
And he's so noble because he is kind of like, he's a little similar to Korax, honestly. Early on when he lands on Barbarous, he's very about freedom. He's got a lot of like loyalty for the people around him. Loyalty specifically a big one, but like freedom for everyone. His first planet, that was his big goal. But I think landing on Barbarous kind of ruined who he is before he got a chance to become someone else. Because even right after his first compliance was on a planet that was ruled by just evil bureaucrats who were crushing everybody's lives. So his idea of freeing them was to crush the entire society down to ash and have the survivors who were subjugated sift through all the bones and make towers of corpses on the ruined planet. He's like, this is good. That means you're involved in your liberation. This will make you stronger.
That's one way to do it. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, he had good intentions, but
that sounds like a Morty thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wasn't there a story where like he was liberating a planet? He got the tyrant in the place, dropped him amongst a bunch of peasants, and said, "Have fun," and they tore him limb from limb. Like
that sounds right.
Yes. Good stuff, Morty.
It is a big tragedy in the heresy, though, because he really gets ignored through a lot of the stories. I think the first time you get to like hear his actual thoughts on what he's doing is the halfway book through the Horus Heresy. where Fulgrim, Morty, and Horus go to Moloch.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to say because Brokir hasn't gotten there yet.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll kind of jump back to our notes real quick. See if we can get a 7th host in and keep going through. The Black Mence. This is where Abaddon's been hanging out the last 10,000 years. Kind of a cool spot.
The Black Manse, and for those that don't know, a manse is like a fancy old-fashioned word for like a mansion or a fortress, as this is being used here. So the more you know. We are learning things here in Lorehammer, dear listeners. The Black Manse was Mortarion's personal fortress upon the Plague Planet, raised atop the highest of its seven pointed poison peaks. From its towering battlements, the Daemon Primarch ruled his diseased realm, attended only by his death shroud and his and the warriors of the 7th entrusted with its defense. Within its black walls lay laboratories where plague and alchemy were perfected, observatories that studied the shifting tides of the warp, and vast libraries filled with forbidden knowledge. Its deepest vaults housed the Death Guard's greatest relics, gene seed reserves, and forgotten dungeons whose full depths remain unknown. At its heart, the Black Manse stood as both fortress and prison, forever bound to the Garden of Nurgle through the immaterial realm. And for some reason, I keep getting the image of like the castle from Amnesia, The Dark Descent, with all of its like arcane laboratories and blood infusions and horrific monsters and shit.
Castle Brennenburg.
Not the nicest place to be around for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like any like body horror game, things that you see and stuff like that, or like Silent Hill, seem a lot of very Nurgle-esque things.
Yeah.
Nurgle.
Some very Q from All Tomorrow stuff going on.
They've got a unit. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're kind of specialists in like rot architecture. There's a unit from the Codex that hangs out on the Plague Planet and is constantly like building, fortifying. The best of them start to like grow into the walls of the area they're working on.
Oh, fuck.
He's going in the walls.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
He's in the wall.
He's in the
Death Guard. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Wow, that's
So let's jump into his personality here. Well, see what he's kind of
his
all about.
personality. So by the end of the Horus Heresy, little remained of the resolute Primarch, who had once fought to free humanity from tyranny. Mortarion had become withdrawn, bitter, and burdened by the consequences of his own choices. Yet he never considered himself a willing servant of chaos. He continued to view the warp as something to be mastered rather than worshipped, believing his damnation had been the price paid to save the Death Guard from destruction. Beneath his grim resolve lingered a deep resentment towards both the Emperor and the powers that now held his soul and trapped, leaving him trapped between defiance and servitude. The relentless determination that had once made him one of the Imperium's greatest generals endured, but it was now stripped of hope, consumed, leaving instead by misery, fatalism, and an unending war against a galaxy that he believed had betrayed him. The consequences of my actions. Oh no.
And like if you thinking that this is what saved the Death Guard from destruction, like really? Is this really what did your sacrifice really save the Death Guard from shit all?
They're perfect now. They're beautiful.
Right. They're all a special flower mushroom.
Meanwhile,
They
Gary in
truly
the back is shitting his brains out, quite literally.
Probably
But he's
helped with
Mortarion kind of now just has sat, well, not even sat, just stands on his like tower overlooking his plague planet for 10,000 years, just like brooding essentially, and that's his fate. This is bitter.
They show him in the Lords of Silence book what he's getting up to in 40k on the plague planet. It's really cool. He has like warp dementia. Like his sense of self in time is starting to get a little displaced. So he talks to the Night Lord. He talks to this Plague Marine Vorx about the events of the Dark Imperium trilogy, where he attacks Macragge, and Vorx is just clueless as to what he's talking about. And then his eyes kind of focus in for a sec, and he's like, "Oh, my mistake. We're not there yet."
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Give it another edition, and you'll know what I'm on about.
Right.
That's cool. This like weird warp amnesia, very cool.
But it's like future dementia.
Yeah.
It's like a weird time anomaly thing that like the Necrons have that happen to them too.
Mm-hmm. He seems fine in real space. I've only seen that on the Plague Planet.
Okay.
It's like when you stop to really take account for yourself, that's when you notice you're fucked. But when you're out on the town having a good time with the boys, you're fine.
Love it.
Back in my day, I was one of the greatest Imperial generals. Sure, Dad. Sure.
There you were, Mortarion.
Right.
At Horus Heresy, Mortarion's philosophy became one of grim inevitability. The ideals that had once driven him, freedom from tyranny, hatred of sorcery, and the liberation of humanity, had long since been buried beneath bitterness and despair. He came to believe that suffering was the natural state of existence, that decay claimed all things, and that resistance only prolonged inevitable ruin. Though bound to Nurgle, Mortarion continued to see himself not as a faithful disciple, but as a master of enduring an unavoidable burden. Convinced that through endurance and acceptance of decay, he has possessed the truth what others refuse to acknowledge. In the end, his greatest contradiction remained unchanged. The Primarch who had dedicated his life to overthrowing tyrants became the immortal ruler of a diseased empire, forever trapped beneath the dominion of a god he believed he could never truly serve. Sucks to suck.
Right.
Rip.
Yeah. That's why you don't play with the warped, kids. Not even a little, not even once.
Yeah. Because like I said, it definitely sounds like he's trying to not let Nurgle really control him. Like, I don't know if that's why he is mostly just stays on his plague planet to try to not just fall victim to what Nurgle wants him to do, whether it's fighting other Space Marines or fighting other Primarchs in the Great Game and everything. But he's doing his best. But it's not going to work.
Because even in Dark Imperium, like he still has like that I'm not enslaved to chaos towards when he's fighting Gilliman, even though Gilliman's pointing out, I was like, you just like what Khan did, is like you trade one tyrant for another. Look at you, you are rotting.
You've seen yourself lately, Jesus.
Yeah, it kind of deludes.
And it's kind of funny too because when that Grando was a remake, but the I want to say it's called Chaos Gate Demon Hunter. That game that came out a couple years back or whatnot, it was remade with more Death Guard influence, and then Morty as the final boss. But he's like the mustache twirling cartoon villain, like all about Papa Nurgle or whatnot, and spreading his blessings and gifts, just like very. Not the way he's portrayed in like the Horus Heresy and Dark Imperium, where he's like he's a slave to chaos, but he's like deluded into thinking, no. So
Well, and I sort of going back to what we're talking about with his like, future dimension, whatever, it could legitimately just almost being like his personality fracturing, and maybe it's just like some future version of him that is embodying him right now, where he is just fully invested, and then later he snaps back to no, I'm okay, I've got a handle on all this.
Yeah, I actually love being a chaos servant. What was I talking about?
So what does Mortarion look like? We've talked about some things with his scythe and his wings, and if you listen to the first episode, they talk a lot about like his respirator on his face. But so at the outbreak of the Horus Heresy, Mortarion remained every inch the grim lord of the Death Guard. Towering even among his brother Primarchs, his unnaturally pale skin, gaunt features, and hollow eyes gave him the appearance of a living corpse long before corruption claimed him. His face was seldom seen beneath the hood of his barbarin plate, an ever-present rebreather, which supplied the poisonous vapors his lungs had grown accustomed to since childhood. Armed with the great scythe, Silence, and carrying himself with cold, deliberate purpose, Mortarion inspired neither admiration nor affection. He appeared instead as the inevitable approach of death itself, silent, relentless, and utterly without mercy. After surrendering himself to Nurgle within the warp, Mortarion's body was twisted into a monstrous reflection of the warrior he had once been. His towering frame became swollen with corruption, while diseased flesh fused seamlessly with the blackened plates of his ancient armor. Tattered moth-like wings, they said they are not that moth-like anyway, carried him above the battlefield, and clouds of poisonous vapor seeped endlessly from his rusted war gear and breathing apparatus. Though transformed into a creature of nightmare, traces of the Primarch endured beneath the corruption. His gaunt face still lingered beneath the cowl, his iron crown remained upon his brow, and silence rested firmly within his grasp, a reminder that beneath the rot and pestilence stood the same implacable warrior who had once walked the poisoned mountains of Barbarous.
These wings are crazy. What people can paint. That's wild.
That's beautiful.
Are these more moth-like wings, or are we still just no moth wings from him?
Yeah, I think so,
Wait.
because some butterflies and moths have the eye bullshit as well. That's the first thing I thought when I saw it.
Yeah. Very cool.
So the other Primarchs think it's like a cat or something from a distance.
All right, we'll jump into his war gear real quick.
All right.
Not a lot of his war gear really changes, but
Yep. So, unlike many of his fallen brothers, Mortarion's war gear changed little following his ascension. The ancient barbarin plate, the great man reaper Silence, and the heavy pistol known as the Lantern remained his constant companions. So, Mothwings, Lantern, that sort of stuff. The time and the corrupting influence of the warp transformed them as they transformed their master, twisting ceramite into rusted iron and imbuing steel with unnatural life. Yet their purpose never changed. Mortarion saw little value in ornament or excess. His armor remained a tool of endurance. Silence, the instrument of inevitable death, and the Lantern, a precise weapon reserved for those few enemies worthy of a single fatal shot. And I'll have to note in here that I do have a Mortarion quote, but since we only have like one more thing with Jax, I can read that, or Mark can edit in the edited version as well for the audio portion.
yeah, because you made like a little audio quote or something.
Yeah, I did an audio edit of I think it was the 8th edition announcement trailer for the Death Guard. and it was Mortarion talking to an Ultramarine that I did a edited voiceover for. So
Right. Yeah, I'll pass that on to Lupical and he'll put that in hopefully. So okay.
That's an incredible speech too. Honor and courage.
yeah, for you folks here in the live stream, I can read that if Mark is okay with it. So
for sure.
But we can do Jax's thing first.
Legacy. So, Mortarion's overall legacy is one of the greatest tragedies of the Horus Heresy. Once hailed as the liberator of Barbarous and the unyielding master of the Death Guard, he dedicated his life to overthrowing tyrants, destroying sorcerers, and freeing humanity from oppression everywhere. Yet every principle he fought to uphold was ultimately twisted against him. The warrior who despised witchcraft became a creature of the warp. The conqueror of a cruel overlord became the ruler of his own poisoned kingdom. The Primarch who sought freedom for his legion condemned it to eternal servitude beneath Nurgle. Even so, Mortarion remains a grim endurance whose determination never faltered. Only the cause he served. His story endures, not as one of simple corruption, but as a warning that hatred, pride, and the belief that one alone can master darkness may become the very chains that find them forever. Rip Mortarion.
Rip.
We can all be better people now knowing this.
Yeah.
Should we sell our soul to demons? Go around the table, yes or no? Yeah. No, it is. I do like
Only this
40K where
Conrad.
like the bad guys aren't like it. They're not necessarily bad guys. They're people just trying to do their best, and then they usually make bad choices. And then they find themselves eventually becoming the full-on bad guys. But it's not just like this caricature of I'm grimdark for grimdark's sake. Yeah, they do a great job of really giving them some depth.
Yeah, I would agree. Like and especially like Mortarion's does seem to be like such a classic example of like the fall, like the saying of like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And in the end, even him submitting to Nurgle was him thinking it was the right thing to do to save the people in his legion.
For sure. Mortarion breaks my heart because he comes so close to making the right decision so many times throughout the heresy. And he tries so hard, but he just makes stupid calls always.
Yeah, like I'll definitely admit
And
that
in
like
the end, it doesn't even matter.
yeah. And like I said, like what I've seen of the Death Guard, which isn't a lot, it is just kind of like gross for grossness sake. I feel like the modern version of Death Guard doesn't have a lot of the nuance that I think the backstory of Mortarion and the Legion could bring to it. But also that is kind of what happens is you get corrupted by the warp and then you're just shit.
Literally.
Now you're warp shit.
Yeah.
They do a pretty great job actually in Lords of Silence. Because it's Chris Wright again, my beloved, beautiful author who can never write a bad book. It's a cool plot, but like the really impressive thing about the book is following this Plague Marine Vorx and like his inner monologue and how he thinks and feels about things and his whole little crew. Like the newest guy is getting frustrated with how lethargic and lazy the warband is, and he's like, this sucks, I should have joined the World Eaters. But they don't have too much like hatred and frustration for the Imperium or their condition that much, because they are super loyal to Mortarion. But there is that split in the Legion between him and Typhus, where there are more like Black Legion-esque chaos guys that are following Typhus and all about Nurgle and corruption and hating everyone.
Okay, that could be it then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll change in the next Death Guard book that's written. Because that's how it goes with them usually.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about kind of those two factions, like you said, the Mortarion faction and the Typhus faction in the next coming episode. Yeah, because they are quite distinct. Like, one is the spreader of disease and like the true champion of Nurgle, and it's not Mortarion.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Mortarion and the Death Guard are kind of almost still a legion in a way.
Yep. Like one of the few traitor legions to actually kind of retain that more or less identity. Because you have so many other Chaos Warbands split off from so many of the other legions that it's just like, but no, it's just like your Death Guard is Death Guard. There's like very little variation apart from do you choose Morty or do you choose Typhus?
For sure. It's part of it's one of the sadder things about them is even how far they've fallen. They're still really loyal at their core, like shockingly so for Chaos Marines.
Getting asked the question, maybe it's easier just to respond. Is there a playlist for listening to the Primarchs? Your best bet is just start looking around like episode 130 and you'll see like the Dark Angels, Lionel Johnson episode. And then every kind of like 4 or 5 episodes, I'll do another Primarch episode. So your best bet is to kind of do that if you're wanting to learn the story. He says, I'm still trying to figure out which Primarch is which. Yeah, there's a lot of different Primarchs and they all have their own gimmicks, their own things. So it's fun getting this far into it though, because you can really kind of just start to like consolidate. Okay, this one's like this for this reason. You get all these sides of the story. Sometimes when you're reading like some of the books, you only get the one side of the story, and then like 10 books later, you read the story from the other side. So then that's cool as you kind of get every kind of little angle as we build this all out. So.
Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, as far in this as we are, we still have 6 more to go. Well, 7.
Yeah, we're still going. Do you want to read that quote there, Gerald?
Yeah. Let me take a big swig because this is going to be torture on my throat. Hold on. Okay. Lupercal, if you were listening to this, feel free to cut this out and replace it with the edited version. Just okay. Courage and honor. Courage and honor. Courage and honor. I hear you murmur these words in the mist. In the wake, I hear your hearts beat harder with false conviction, seeking to convince yourselves that a brave death has meaning. There is no courage to be found here, my nephews. No honor to be had. Your souls will join the trillion others in the mist, shrieking uselessly into eternity, weeping for the empire you could not save. To the unfaithful, I bring holy plagues ripe with enlightenment. To the devout, I bring the blessings of immortality through the kiss of sacred rot. And to you, newborn sons of Gilliman, to you flesh-crafted puppets of a failing Imperium, I bring the holiest gift of all, silence.
Yeah, that's fucking whoa.
Is it getting hot in here, guys?
Yeah, that's a wild quote. It kind of reminds me of the Angron one about courage and honor, but yeah. They just hate Gilliman because he's the best and he made something of his life. Fuck him. Cool. Well, that's Mortarion. Now he's chilling in the warp, just being moody. So we will come back to him. Like we all know, obviously, he comes back in 40K. He comes back a couple times, even like throughout the 10,000 years. He gets summoned a few times or whatever. So we'll discuss some of that eventually. But yeah, that's kind of him. Do we want to go around the table? Just maybe start at the top of the screen and work our way down. If you're kind of closing thought on Mortarion. Starting with, I think that's Jax at the very top.
Mortarion, tragic character. Didn't deserve what he got in life, but the consequences of his actions kind of caught up with him in the end.
Yeah.
Don't mess with the warp. It's like matches.
I always liked Mortarion and the whole aesthetic of like the 30k Death Guard, just very cool. Daemon Primarch, mini, fan fucking tastic, just peak.
Yeah.
Lore, I was kind of split on in the beginning because I came in during 9th edition and everyone was memeing on like how whiny he is or whatnot about not being a slave to chaos and whatnot, but then learning about his backstory and the heresy is like, this is actually kind of tragic. He's still a little whiny, don't get me wrong there, but he's still very cool to see how he could have been one of the good ones and just life had a different path for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be in a very similar camp where I didn't know much about Mortarion going into this. I had seen a lot of people, especially like around the Discord, talk about how he was a very tragic figure, but hadn't looked into it too much myself. And this definitely I would feel confirms that like there is. I would say he's definitely one of the most nuanced Primarchs, if at least, especially one of the more nuanced trader Primarchs. And like Gerald said, like was said, a few times during the show, there was so many times that he was so close to not falling and could have made a different decision. But again, that just makes it all the more tragic. So yeah, definitely a lot more interesting than I feel like he's given credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say fits the Grimdark really well. He's trying to, avoid some stuff and literally becomes that fucking thing. So yeah, pretty cool guy. I really didn't know shit about him. It feels funny to use the words of talking about Mortarion. Honestly, yeah, but yeah, cool moff dude. Honestly, yeah. Love him. Thank you.
It's incredible. He's probably my favorite character in the entire setting. Just because I read the books when I was like 17 or something. So at the time, let me clarify, at the time, Mortarion was the most super relatable to me, as much as a Primarch can be to like someone in real life. But I loved him because he was so relatable. Even like the worst parts of him, like how bitter and hypocritical he is. So now I just have a soft spot for him all these years later, like a decade later, just looking back going, ha, I thought that was me in high school. What a funny character.
It's courageous. No, that's so funny. Yeah, I guess for Mortarion, it just goes to show that you can't fight fate. So if you're feeling the desire to do bad things, just go with it. Just go for it, Just live a little.
Moral of the story, yeah. Good.
I don't know if Lorehammer Legal would agree with you, Mark, but
yeah, probably not. But
yeah, it's a hell with the showers.
Yeah, fuck it. Cool show. We had a lot of people on. We didn't quite get up to 7. Mortarion will definitely curse us all with a plague now, but that's fine. We'll get.
I'm gonna lose my membership card.
The 7th one is Mortarion in our hearts.
Wait. Here we go. We got our 7th one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. Okay, so none of us will get infected, although we will get sacrificed by Mortarion. So that's whatever. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening to Lorehammer. If you have lore that you want to read out and you have homebrew lore, submit it to Lorehammer Listener Lore Podcast, submit it to lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com and we'll read it out. Also, if you want Mortarion's miniature, you can go to Merlin's Miniatures, use promo code Lorehammer. You can get a little discount. You can send some money my way by doing that. Merlin's Miniatures, and you can get a little Mortarion model for yourself. There's so many people, no one even knows who else to shout out. But
Hey, I got it. Shout out on my mailman working out in this crazy heat.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
Phew.
it's nuts.
This heat, y'all. But if you want to listen in on another podcast, come join Grim Lore, where we talk about Warhammer 40K's older but not as famous cousin, Warhammer Fantasy, and a little bit Age of Sigmar. We just did an episode on the Stormcast Eternals, aka the Sigmarines, and they're called that for very good reason. Yeah, it's a good time. Fuzz was on, Mark was on. And we always have more room in the tavern for more people. So there you go.
Very cool.
Yeah, and if you want to follow my blacksmithing and crafting journey, I have Stout Hammer Forge on a few places like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, where I post pictures of the things that I am forging and other kind of crafts. Like I've got a boot knife that I'm making, and so there'll be a little bit of woodworking, a little bit of blacksmithing. I've got some leather working to do for it. So if you want to follow the world's okayest blacksmith, go ahead and look up Stout Hammer Forge on your favorite socials and see if I'm there.
Very cool. Well, my little nerdlings, thanks for listening, and we'll all take off and see you on the next episode. We're going to be doing Death Guard 30K Legion era stuff, so see you then.